Uh, Good morning, everyone. So I and Chris and others work within the Marine Science Evidence team within DEFRA. As I mentioned yesterday, we're bridging between policymakers at one end of the room, as I think of them, and agencies, scientists, and the like, and the likes of Insight on the other side. And often we're sort of speaking different languages to different people and having that ability to frame things in the way that the audience needs. As an example, I try and distill science papers down to 3 sentences. So the key message, how confident I am in it, and whether it supports previous evidence or whether it's going against the grain and potentially bringing in something new. And so within our team, we have folk who work on pollution, marine habitats, and marine species. And very much we would be keen to be involved in, I think I speak for the team, in communicating and information sharing and potentially steering sort of future work such as Insight 3 and Valmas. And so all I've brought here are a few what I hope are relevant to the wrap-up of Insight 2, but also going forward, questions that are facing us, and some of the answers are sort of already coming out within the room here. In terms of bigger questions for UK marine strategy, for OSPAR sort of level, some of them are sort of England focused because that's sometimes where DEFRA is reporting, and some of them are sort of at the wider UK and sort of regional seas of northeastern Europe scale. First off, I just wanted to mention the natural capital, so the Marine Natural Capital Ecosystem Assessment Programme. This is something that's been funded separately by Treasury, but is giving us a different perspective on these sort of marine targets that previously we've just been thinking about the state of the marine environment. This is bringing in some of the considerations, not just from a natural perspective, but also a socio perspective and economic perspective. And trying to think of things in the round. It's allowing thought about innovation, future monitoring methods, potential collaborations with various organisations that government hasn't worked with previously or could strengthen those links. And thinking about diverse data sources. Are we using everything that we have in our ability, or are there other sort of data sets out there? And some of that's been alluded to in recent talks, particularly Henk just now. And are we thinking sort of cohesively? Are we just thinking about how many contaminants are out there, as that's one of the things I work on? Or are we actually thinking about what are causing those changes? Where are the pressures? Where are the drivers? And then where does that lead to if we manage to change that state? So where's the impact, where's the response? The DAPSIR framework, or cumulative impacts assessments, have become a bit more of a focus over the previous few years. ICES and OSPAR have picked up on this, and some of the sort of thematic assessments for pelagic habitats, for instance, are bringing these in. It's at a qualitative state at the moment, but hopefully we can think of it quantitatively as well going forward, knowing not just the direction of travel if we improve contaminants, say, but actually if you improve contaminants by X amount, what are the benefits, but also what are the consequences for something else. Underwater noise is a big thing at the moment, but we need that shipping there. So can the shipping be quieter, or can it be in places where it's not impacting protected species so much? And so it's that cohesive thinking that's really something that we're trying to think of as a whole. A lot of the time we can't influence what's happening on land, but we can at least inform the people who make those decisions in farming, in release of sewage into rivers, these sort of things, of the potential impact for the marine system and the knock-in on consequences there. The next thought, obviously, is climate change. And do we already have those valuable blue carbon stocks on the seabed around some of these offshore structures? We should be taking this into account as part of the wider argument. It's not just biodiversity that these structures may be able to be providing. Richard's question earlier about are we adding biodiversity or not, I think we can also consider it of, if we remove these structures, are we taking biodiversity away, or are we taking away the ability for invasive species to colonize? And maybe that's a good thing. There's ups and downs in both directions, but how do we retain, if there are blue carbon stocks there, how do we retain those? If we go to clean seabed, do they get destroyed by future activities coming through that area? And so we just need to consider these in the round, again, systematic thinking. Pollutants are something that I was tasked with and are within my remit as sort of marine pollution as a whole. One of the things that Insight has brought to my mind is there are these legacy contaminants there, but are they buried? Are they bioavailable? Are they a hazard to marine life? Are they becoming less of a hazard to marine life? And are we better off trying to remediate them and digging out the platform and its footings, or is that actually going to make the situation worse? And so potentially we're releasing mercury in various forms into marine life that then maybe knock onto into our seafood and into going up to marine mammals. So it's that wider perspective that we really need to be taking into account from government, and if there are sort of evidence to support any of these things, then that's something that's really valuable to us, and we're really keen to hear about it. Preferably before it's out in the scientific literature, because then we can make steps and sort of keep it sort of under wraps in government. And I've been seeing that there's a sort of diverse bacterial and myofauna community around the offshore structures. Is this a good thing? This is increased biodiversity, but are they a good thing that we've got this adapted community there, or is the best case to have what the benthic community that should be in that area was there before the structure was brought in? I don't know the answer, but I'd like to. And so it's whether these are a case-by-case basis that we're trying to think about. That might be the way we have to do it, but actually, do we know what all structures that are in the environment are actually providing at the moment? Can we say the baseline that they're providing is X, and then certain structures are providing a bit more? And do we consider these as things that they're providing? Will they be lost if we remove them, or if we change them, if we topple on site? Do the structures provide the same benefits at that point, or even are they providing better benefits because the angle of various girders is more suitable as a habitat? But we have to weigh this up, like all of these things, against the sort of whether there's ongoing maintenance, the sort of legacy costs that we're passing on. If we take a structure and we reuse it in a different way, are we just pushing things down the road and we'll still have to decommission them at some point, and that's a legacy that's passed on to the offshore wind company that is running a particular farm that is using a structure as a compensation measure? So we need to be not just thinking about the here and now, but thinking the longer term and what we do. And it's a very difficult situation, but these are the sort of questions that I think Insight in its various forms is able to provide more information. And then finally, personally and within work, I'm thinking of this in terms of the offshore renewables as well. This is mainly oil and gas, but if we design in the right way now, we need to be thinking about the decommissioning of these wind farms, or the repurposing, or the sort of restructuring of the wind farms, and understanding whether the options are the same. Are the same questions that we're trying to look at here applicable? And can we design them in such a way that they're actually providing diversity and they're not like a heavy concrete base that can't be removed going forward? I've been thinking the last day or so, are the tripod structures with lots of girders, are they much better for marine life than a single monopile hammered into the seabed? And that sort of thing would probably be really useful for environmental standards and for work that is ongoing in government and will continue, I'm sure, whoever the new politicians are. But that sort of work is trying to provide a steer towards the offshore wind sector at the moment, and to make things as best they can be for the marine system. So yes, as I say, that's all I had to say at the moment, but please do get in touch, and if you have research that you think addresses any of these, then I'm very happy to be contacted with whatever restrictions you have on that data. So thank you for now.